What's happening?
Oh, yes, it's the news.
It's time for news.
Ken.exe has crashed.
So I had a blue screen.
No, let's go into here. There's Jeff. There's the news. What's happening, buddy? What's going on?
I was just waiting for that one time that delay was going to be like, people are going to go, well, you okay? You all right? Need help?
That was all on me, though, this time, Jeff.
That's all right. So first in the news, we have in India, there is a major push by the Prime Minister to start using drones more effectively. And he is really pushing companies to find new ways of using drones. This particular drone is called the Jetsi delivery drone, and this was put out to deliver packages and do courier work for the Indian government and the military. This is a really interesting way of delivering with a drone.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a Jetsi delivery drone, and it's not designed for the public use. This is going to be delivering to houses, etc. But government buildings and facilities can have the mounts on them where the drone will come and land on the side of the building.
Yeah. I don't see any
the
problem with that at all.
Yeah, it's the one of the drones that will transition in flight. So it has a very impressive range. But what's interesting about this is that it's an autonomous drone. But when it comes to the location, the center portion of the drone is where the packaging is. And in this particular case, I think this one they're demonstrating it carrying medical supplies.
Right.
But when it approaches where it's supposed to land, this is where it gets really interesting. And I just wanted people to appreciate this, because I would love to know the engineering that went into this.
All right. So it's there at your window. You got to make sure the props are off so that you don't lose your fingers. Okay. So you can never say, hey, Timmy, go to the window and grab my whatever the hell. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. It looks perfectly safe. This looks like it'll definitely happen. What do you think, Ken? Definitely, right?
No, I'm not seeing that happening, man.
It's not going to happen.
I mean, that just doesn't look like a good idea.
Nope.
Could you imagine that thing crashing or losing its payload, which would, in this case, blood, and it just smacks somebody's car as they're trying to... Could you imagine the hysteria?
Yeah. I mean, that kind of drone for hospital to hospital. Yes.
I mean, I think it's cool. It's cool. But the delivery process seems a little unrefined. I mean, and it seems very limited as what it could carry. I mean, it's interesting how it's docking. It seems like it's using magnets or something, Yeah,
I mean, maybe they'll use that technology for other things. But all this stuff, man, it's just not. We're never going to have home drone delivery until there's a new propulsion thing that's safe. If it's propellers. And while the lawyers are still alive, it will not happen. It just will not happen.
I don't think it will happen in our lifetime like we would want in the capacity that they're trying to test and trying to prove. Or it may happen when we're feeble-minded and then we no longer have a say. I mean, maybe at some point, or who knows, maybe they get bored with the idea of doing delivery this way and they just teleport shit. I'm in favor of teleporting things.
Oh, I'm all for the teleport.
Is a lot safer.
Yes.
Like,
absolutely. What could go wrong there? Nothing.
Leave our airspace alone. Just learn to teleport things and break down the molecules and send it across the airwaves. That's a lot safer. So
drones,
that's where I'm at.
Teleportation. Yeah. I mean, one day, if we're lucky, they may think of truck technology and deliver stuff that way. But that's that's a pipe dream.
Hey, Jeff, you got another story to teleport this way?
So in Ukraine, the contest between the Russians and the Ukrainians for using drones continues, and the drone community, or I guess not the drone community, but the security community has made available to the Ukrainian military the Sky Swiper anti-drone gun.
The Lithuania-based company NT-Service has developed a portable device to counter hostile drones, the Electronic Drone Mitigation System. In less than a minute, operators can be ready for action. Operators point the device in the direction of the threat and press the trigger. Handling the device is as easy as operating a firearm. The target might be miles away, out of sight. The electromagnetic signal generated by the EDM-4S blocks the drone's controls and navigation in a fraction of a second. Meanwhile, the drone operator unsuccessfully struggles with the controls.
Uh-oh.
Look
Due
how
to the
evil that
counter-drone
operator
system.
is.
I mean, he's got a hoodie on. Of course he's a bad
The
guy.
operator becomes a target.
Got a hoodie.
The drone lands in
Oh.
emergency mode and may be retrieved by
Trees are such
personnel.
dicks.
Such a convenient landing.
EDM-4S is battle and mission tested, reliable, and safe to use.
Okay. You know what? Anything with grooving music and an Eastern European accent. I want it.
Yeah, baby.
I have to have it. Yeah.
There is a viral video that is out there right now of the Ukrainian forces using this drone on a Russian Mavic. And they fire the gun at the drone, they draw the Mavic to them, and they actually bring the Mavic down to the point where it's within hand's reach, and the troop reaches up, grabs the drone, flips it upside down, and then has his prize. And it's just, I mean, I'm glad to see that they're using these, because obviously they could turn that drone around and use it themselves. It's an interesting way of being able to change the way of the war works.
And by the way, Joshua Bardwell is watching. The know-it-all's watching. Oh my goodness! Thank you, Joshua, for the $10 super chat, man. Appreciate that. Wow.
All right, so straight out of a movie, a high-tech robbery took place recently in the Caisse d'Epargne in France, in Reims. The thieves were able to steal 150,000 euros or $147,000 from an ATM in the French city of Reims without using explosives. The criminals managed to do this by flying a DJI mini drone into the technical room via a ventilation duct.
What?
And then pressing a button with the drone that was used to open the door from the inside, allowing them entry into the bank and access to the money.
Hold on. They pressed a button with the drone?
They pressed a button with the drone.
They deserve the money. Just give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, who does that? Who just
Yeah.
This was in France?
This was in France.
This cannot be true. This cannot be true, Jeff.
To determine
They would not make it
exactly
this
where
easy.
to determine exactly where the button was, the burglars first used a mirror on a telescopic stick, and the whole robbery took 10 minutes.
Wow.
This is unbelievable.
Oh,
Yes.
Ken, if you're going to do your French accent, then I give you this. Go ahead.
I mean, you're trying to tell me they robbed the bank with a Mavic Mini?
Yeah, unfortunately, the four suspects were arrested soon after. One of them was actually a person that worked as a mechanic for the company that maintains the ATMs used by the
it's
bank.
an inside,
so it's an
job.
inside job.
Of
It was
course.
an inside job.
Well, you know
Wow.
what? If they used a Nevada, they wouldn't have even got that far because they would have heard him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mini's kind
Lot
of
of-
quiet. That was a good drone to choose for that type of robbery.
So if you want to rob a bank, you use a Nevada. Or no, not a Nevada, Mini.
A Mini. Oh, definitely a Mini.
Mini.
All right.
Okay.
And
All right.
speaking of criminals, I have a follow-up on a previous story that we did out of Fort Worth where a person had flown a drone into a prison yard. Brian LeRae Henderson was arrested and charged in August for the crime of flying his drone into a federal prison with contraband. He pled guilty on October 5th, and he flew methamphetamines, THC, tobacco, cell phones, and MP3 players into the prison. He is going to face 20 years in prison.
20
That's
years.
pretty crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and of course, 5 more years for serving as an airman without an airman certificate. So,
Because it was a commercial delivery, right?
yeah, it was considered a commercial delivery.
Oh, see.
You guys are over here. Drone delivery is never going to happen. It's been happening
It's
in
been
prison
happening
systems for a long
At
time.
prisons forever.
They were the pioneers of drone
That's
delivery.
right. Forget keystring. Keystrings for suckers. Put it in the drone now. Take it out of your ass and put it in the drone. Send it.
All right, so I believe it was last week, we had photographs of an uncrewed surface vessel, or a USV, that was found near Sevastopol, Crimea. And it's been determined that that is actually a motorized explosive boat. It has a section of the front of the ship that is a trigger. The thing is completely covered with explosives. Recently, a very important bridge was destroyed, linking Russia in the Crimea area. And it wasn't determined, and it's still sort of up in the air as to what caused the actual explosion. But in this video, it is thought that one of these boats performed this task, because in the very first part of the video, you see a wave under the bridge just prior to the explosion.
Oh, yeah.
And that wave, they believe, is the boat coming up and hitting the side of the bridge.
Yeah.
And then what happened is the explosion here then caused a secondary explosion of a train on the upper bridge, which caused a whole nother mess. But that whole section of the bridge is gone. It just completely fell off. So that's a major hit for them, because that's one of their major supply routes for bringing troops and equipment and stuff into Ukraine. So these USVs may very well be a reality, and the one that the Russians actually found the other week.
They blew it up, I think, right? They dragged it out there and they blew it up.
Yeah, they dragged it out and blew it up. So I'll be intrigued to know if we're going to see more action from these little devices, because there's no information as to who makes them. I mean, this is something that's completely under the radar. Nothing like this has been seen. There's no company that manufactures these things, so it's really interesting.
Could be like a Cuban design, because the Cubans used to do that as they smuggle drugs from Cuba to Miami area. They would use these. They were just slightly under the surface.
Yeah.
Oh,
they were manned. They were manned crafts, but still, it's very similar though.
Yeah. All right. So straight out of a Terminator movie, a recent viral video has shown up in China of a gun-toting robot dog being dropped off by a drone.
Have you seen this, Ken?
I have not. Seen
this is insane. Watch this.
This is produced by the China Kestrel Defense, and it is the stuff of sci-fi nightmares.
Yeah, this is some nightmare fuel right here.
All right, let's see what the dog looks like. We'll judge.
The dog's got a gun on it, right?
Yeah, it's a militarized.
Whoa!
And it's one of those. It's like the Boston Dynamic dog, but it's got a gun on it.
It's not
the drone
dancing.
Comes and drops it off.
Right? Yeah.
This looks like that black. This reminds me of that Black Mirror episode. Have you ever seen that episode?
Yes. What a great episode. What a great series too. But
yeah,
freaks me out.
Yeah, that's
in the video. People have been able. It's not really clear, but they have been able to make out that somewhere on the drone it says Bloodwing.
Bloodwing.
Yeah,
appropriate name, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right.
And the drone, which Kestrel makes, is called the Redwing. So, go figure. They've militarized their Redwing delivery drone with a robot dog with guns. So
interesting.
There you go. All right. So, let's say you're a drone pilot, or actually, let's say you want drone footage, but you don't have a drone, right? Google has stepped up to help you out. If you don't have a drone, you too can get drone footage with Google AI.
Oh.
What if we could take just one photograph of a landscape and then we would fly into this photo like a bird? This AI is so much smarter than the previous one that was published just a year ago, and it requires training data that is much easier to produce at the same time. And I wonder what we will be capable of just 2 more papers down the line.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
Wow. Cool.
So, a combination of their AI with Google Maps and Google Earth, etc., being able to take a photograph, as long as you know the location, you can fly into the photograph digitally without actually needing a drone to get drone footage.
That is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, and until the photographs become sentient. And then you'll have to get to the chopper! Where's Sarah Kama? Every time I hear A and I together, I don't know. It's a little frightening.
It's like a trigger for you.
It is. Well, I'm in the gray-haired set, so a computer for me was that old Simon game. Remember the Simon game? You remember right? You hit the blue button, and then the blue button goes beep boop, and then you hit the blue button and the yellow button, and that was a computer back in the old days. There was no AI there, Sonny.
No AI there. All right, so switching beats to motorsports, or the genesis of the flying car. We have talked about the idea of them racing drones, people being inside of drones and actually having what they would consider F1 racing in drones. Recently, in South Australia and the Salt Flats, airspeeder pilot Zefatali Walsh beat fellow competitor Fabio Tischer in a tense, close, inaugural EXA remotely piloted race.
He's in a really good position here, but still anything can happen.
So they're in here, right? They're in.
They're flying these remotely. They have not put pilots in these yet. Okay. But the actual people that would be piloting these, the actual race pilots, are flying these drones, and this is the first time that these drones have been actually flown against one another.
Okay.
Would you get in one of those things, Ken?
I don't know, man. No, I don't know. I feel like if I crash that, that's it.
Well, there's a lot of consequences if you're flying over solid ground like this.
Yeah. I mean, I would need some sort of contingency or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now that I am wholeheartedly, completely ready to fly in one of those race drones. I know that I will be the safest pilot in those race drones, because once I get in it and they turn it on, it will never take off.
And you're the built-in airbag.
That is a true statement, Jeff. I could just see you hopping in there, helmet and Speedo.
Yep, and it would just sit on the ground and never leave the ground.
But you know what? As far along as everybody thinks we are with drones these days, we're still in the infancy of all of this. Yeah. As indicated by, drone laws and everything changing from minute to minute. And if you look back, you likened it to an Indy car. If you go back to those first Indy cars, those cylindrical things that looked very much like these, but with those wheels, I mean, those wheels were falling off. The exposed, they were falling off. And I mean, when they first came out, people were dying in those things, and those were on the ground. So I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to let everybody else beta test that stuff for me.
I don't know. I'd rather slide. Like when you're in an Indy car and you get into an accident, I mean, yes, you're going super fast. You're like, almost 200 miles an hour. But I don't know. I feel safer sliding on fire than falling and then having fire after falling, possibly. I don't know.
Slide fire is better than fall fire.
Yeah, I'd rather slide than fall.
Let's make a comparison, though, because we also have air races. Okay. Yeah. Out in Nevada, we have the air races where they race aircraft, and they have accidents, people dying in those air races. But overall, the number of accidents they have are considerably less than what you would have in car racing. Okay. Because you have more room, you have more space, and the speeds that they're working at, they have the ability to stay away from one another. Whereas on the race courses, cars primarily are hitting one another and then causing accidents.
That is true, but I think when you look at it in a term of like abundance, in car racing is a lot more abundant. It's happening more frequently than, let's say the Red Bull races or something like that. And with Red Bull, they're racing against time. I think it would be safe if you're racing against time and they had some sort of safety net for these pilots to where, okay, hey, this is where we're going to race. We're going to race these here, and you're going to be this far above, and maybe over a stretch they have like almost like a netting that can snatch these. So like if they're hitting the ground, they're not like, they're not killing their pilots.
Oh, I just had an idea. Airspeed drone guys crash up Derby in the air.
Okay,
future sport.
We're not going to follow.
No,
I don't think we should follow up with that. That's a terrible idea.
Okay.
But going on the basis of what Ken said earlier about the fact that the early race cars were small, little tubular cars that had exposed wheels and they were very dangerous, and these follow along the same line. On that vein, as this matures, if you can imagine a racing drone but set up like an F1 McLaren, where it has a larger body and it has more power and it flies faster and it has more safety features in it because it's a larger body aircraft, then you're talking about some fun stuff. So
yeah,
it is interesting to see that, though.
Yeah.
All right, so back on Ukraine for just a moment, because I want to share with you guys something that I thought was a little different and strange.
Yeah.
Recently, the Ukrainian president has named Luke Skywalker as the ambassador of their drone army.
Oh.
I was really surprised to be contacted by President Zelensky. I assume I didn't ask why. I mean, I think they saw my support for Ukraine on my Twitter feed, but you know, it's I'm not used to being contacted by world leaders. You know, I'm a court jester. Drones define war outcomes. They're essential for Ukraine to protect their border, to protect their citizens.
Interesting. How'd that come about, and why?
Yeah, again, it was one of these things. I think it's more of a PR stunt where they were trying to, they're trying to use name recognition. Really and truthfully, I don't see where Mark Hamill is going to have any direct impact.
I don't understand.
How do you turn this off?
Warfare.
So, was there like a retreat, or I mean, do they suspect that there's a Death Star out there of some sort? I don't know. I'm trying to connect the dots myself. I'm confused.
I mean,
like,
Putin's too short to be Darth Vader, right?
Yeah,
he's a little
he could
guy.
be like he could be Palpatine or something. Like he could be small like that. I could picture him being like that. Like I don't know.
All right. So next in the news, Real-Time Robotics, or RTI, is introducing a new drone, the Heron drone. And what's interesting about the Heron drone is that heavy lift drones, we normally see these things, and they're monstrous drones that, they bring in and like multiple boxes and they assemble, etc.
Right.
This is the first heavy lift backpackable multi-rotor UAV, and it's going to be introduced at the Dubai World Trade Center on the 10th and the 14th of October.
Okay. Is this a toddler lifter?
This is a toddler lifter.
Ooh, how many?
You can wear it on your back.
How many toddlers can we get up in that thing?
Let's see. This is able to lift 33 pounds.
How much does a toddler weigh? I've never had one that I know about.
Yeah, I would say that a very small toddler would weigh more than 33 pounds.
Oh, really? Mm.
Yeah. But this particular drone is able to lift 33 pounds. It has an M61 Gremsy gimbal. It has VN sight dual cameras, including the Sony FCB EV9 D500 and the FLIR Bosun 64x512. And I'm looking to see if it has any information on range. I don't see information on range, but this thing is just covered with sensors. It has loudspeakers, lighting, SIR kits are available for it. I mean, it is a multi-purpose drone that you can fold up and wear on your back.
How much?
They don't have a price listed here for it.
I'm guessing it has
expensive.
a comma in it.
It's going to be at the Dubai World Trade Center, so it's definitely going to have a comma in it.
2 commas. Drone Slot said the average toddler weighs 21 to 33 pounds. So I imagine there's people out there Googling, how much does a toddler weigh? You know that's going to be in your Google search history now.
Yeah, that's something that the government will news. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So
that's the reason why I don't Google that stuff.
Yeah, that drone can lift 1 toddler. Toddler tested, mother approved. There you go.
All right. So next we have a drone that is coming. It's a super light fixed wing drone offering 2 hours of flight endurance. It's the Idea Forge Switch UAV. And this drone has a swappable payload, including a day payload with a 25 times zoom capability and thermal imaging night payload. It is defined as built like a bird, tested like a tank.
Oh, yeah, this thing looks pretty badass. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, looks pretty cool for a VTOL.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and it uses an IdeaForge Bluefire Live software solution. The pilots can grant remote access to users to control the payload, making the switch ideal for applications with central command and control monitoring over several aircraft at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is going to be a pretty impressive drone, and they're going to be used again. This is part of that drive in India, where they're really, I mean, hardcore pushing the use of drones and trying to drive Indian companies to develop drones. And we're going to see probably over the next 5 to 6 years a huge increase in Indian or India made drones, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come up with.
We need that though. We're worldwide, just like looking at the drone environment and the landscape. We need more. There needs to be more options, more competition, just worldwide. Because like even in America, there's very few American manufacturers that are producing drones. So it'd be cool to see more.
True. And this is built like a what, Jeff?
I said
no, it's not. It's not. It's built like a tank, but flies like a what, Jeff?
Oh, that's what it was. It's built like a tank, but flies
built
like a
built like a bird and tested like a tank.
A what, Jeff?
A bird.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
Oh crap!
Bird is a word. Bird is a word. Bird is a word. Don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody's heard. That's a whale and a shark. Bird is a word. Bird is a word.
Jeff, your thoughts?
No, I don't have any thoughts.
I like the other one. The other one, when the girl did it, that one just like is iconic. Can we that one? There we go.
Heard about the bird. Bird, well, a bird is a word. Well, a bird, what the bird's a well, a bird, what the bird is a word. Well, a bird, a bird's a well, a bird, well, a bird is a word.
Jeff?
Yeah, that was iconic.
Yeah, that's Dottie. That's Dottie.
Yeah,
her name's Dottie. She's good.
You had to mention that one, didn't you? That's great.
Well, you know what, Jeff? I could just see like it's, it like sears just into you just a little bit.
Remind me later on when I have an opportunity to throw you under the bus that I do it.
I know you will. I know you will.
He avoids stories that mention the word.
Yes, absolutely. I have.
You do it every time.
Run away from stories that have anything associated with that infernal animal. All right. So
what animal? What animal is that?
I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
United States Army is set to acquire the Israeli Smash 2000L anti-UAV system.
Oh.
This particular system is not a traditional anti-drone device. This is actually a optical system that is designed to fit on existing rifles.
Nice.
That is called a smart shooter. And essentially it allows the scope to lock onto the target and using image processing and artificial intelligence tell the shooter where to aim to hit the drone. And it is touted as a one-shot, one-hit capability.
Okay. Has anybody else other than me noticed that whenever these companies want to do a demo video of them destroying a drone, it's always a Phantom of some sort?
I think it's the most iconic drone. Like
it is.
When you think about it, it's an iconic drone. Like if you ask anybody and you hold it up, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a Phantom."
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of bigger and a bigger target, I guess, and cheaper at this point. But by the way, I gave my dad a Phantom Advanced.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, and he texted me. He calls me Ace. Hey Ace, I'm gonna fly that drone. Okay, Dad. 10 minutes later, crashed it into a tree. Ha 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 ha. I would have given him a toy drone if he was not going to be serious about it. I was kind of butthurt about that.
Yeah.
Come on, Dad.
Okay, so to help Ken out because he loves talking about delivery drones, the next story is associated to the Wing aircraft. Recently, a delivery drone crashed and burned after flying into power lines south of Brisbane. Now, when it hit the power lines, it left thousands of people without electricity. Energex had to shut down the network after the crew was called out to the incident on Thursday in Browns Plain on a scrubby creek road, where this drone landed on 11,000 volts and took out the power.
Oh my God! Hold on. Do you see that? Are those tube socks? I think I can see my tube socks in there burning up.
Yeah, the Energex spokesman, Danny Donald, was quoted as saying, "We didn't actually have to get the drone off of the lines as such. It actually caught fire and incinerated itself."
Oh, that's good. That's good. It took care of itself.
Problem solved.
He said the drone was carrying something, but he was never able to figure out what was inside.
Oh, wouldn't it have been great if it was popcorn? That would have been a great video.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that I feel that the drone delivery as a whole is not well thought out in some regards, because we also have this wonderful video from California with a food delivery drone that I don't think made it.
This is why these food delivery robots will never work. Don't invest in this company. Look at this. Watch this.
Why? All right. So, you know where that's at, Jeff?
I thought that was in San Francisco.
That's in San Francisco. Why would you put a robot with googly eyes going about 2 miles an hour in San Francisco? I'm telling you what right now. I'm walking through the streets of San Francisco. I'm scurrying. I'm not walking slowly. I'm bustling to the next location because I don't want to get shot, robbed, or stolen in San Francisco. You're going to put like the googly eyes. They're never going to mess with this. It's smiling at me.
Yes, we'll just make it. We'll just make it adorable, and
we're just gonna.
The skater punks won't mess with us.
And they literally tip it over.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine what the robot is saying as it's getting tipped over? I could just imagine Johnny Five or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, please stop. As they're kicking it.
Bleep blorp. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir, for getting in my way. If you please get out of my way, I will continue on.
This
looks
is
like
why
a Yeti on wheels. It's a Yeti on wheels.
This is why we can't
would work in Florida.
Have delivery drones in the air, on the ground, in the water, because there are yahoos like this. Because the people that put together the technology, and you have to admit the technology for that was probably pretty outstanding. A lot of programming, a lot of thought went into it, and engineering and everything. But those smart egghead Mensa types don't think about the yahoo with the skateboard and the overalls going, "Hey man," bloop. They don't think about that, and that's why it will never ever work.
I mean, that could work on like a college campus, like a refined, like maybe MIT, where they're like, "Oh, look at this wonderful piece of equipment strolling to provide me Grubhub. I shall wait for it," and that'll work there. But you can't put that just anywhere.
You can't. It's like if you put a butter churner on Times Square, it's going to get broken or stolen. Just leave it on the Amish 100%. Farm, and it'll be fine. It's all about whatever environment the stuff's in. Yes, I agree.
All right. So, Ken Dono, do you ride motorcycles?
I have not. I'm really bad on drones and just vehicles in general. Could you imagine me on two wheels, Jeff?
Well, the reason I ask is because I have
rode, but it's been quite some time.
I ride motorcycles. Ken Heron is well known for his love of motorcycles and speed, and a Japanese company, ALI Technologies, who is associated with Mitsubishi Electric and the millionaire footballer Kazuki Honda, have introduced the X Turismo limited edition flying motorbike. And this $700,000 hover bike will be available for sale in the United States.
Wow, $700,000.
Yeah,
it's $700,000.
That's a lot of carbon fiber. It's not a motorcycle just because you can straddle it.
It just doesn't look sexy. It doesn't have the same appeal. Like, I'm just saying, like that doesn't flatter anybody right there. I mean,
that's a wave runner. That's what that is. You can straddle a wave runner too.
I don't know if I'd be good with that. Could you imagine that going down the road? I don't know.
Well, they're hoping to persuade wealthy consumers to swap out their supercars for this hover bike,
which
goes on sale October 26th.
The only people that should buy one of those is those guys buying the freaking Can-Ams. What is even a Can-Am? That right there is for somebody who drives a Can-Am.
I didn't want to say anything because I know my audience, there's somebody there with a Can-Am in their garage, but just know, please don't unsubscribe. Just know that is not a motorcycle. That is a snowmobile. Okay?
Oh my God. I'm not associated to this conversation in any way, shape, or form. I disassociate myself.
They took the snowmobile thing off.
I instigated that conversation. I went there.
All right. So finally in the news, this really isn't news. This is just absolutely pure entertainment. Every year, Halloween rolls around and people come up with new and fantastic ways to decorate their houses and put it to music. This year, somebody went all out because not only did they decorate their house, not only did they put it to music, but they used 400-foot-tall Halloween lights with drones.
Yes, and I had to switch the music out because I can't play Metallica Master of Puppets and not get a copyright strike. So I did switch it out for the 8-bit edition.
Lars are coming after you.
Right. This is going to sound like an 80s video game, but it's still cool. It did sync up pretty well, though.
I think it sounds better.
As an 8-bit?
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of? Looking at this? That movie with Adam Sandler with Pac-Man, what was that called?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Reminded me of.
I'm sorry, but I love these videos every year, and I think the creativity that comes into these things is insane. But the simple fact that they blended the Metallica with Stranger Things and Ghostbusters for this light show was just phenomenal.
Yeah, they did. They did a great job. Right. Yeah. Right.
Now, this is what happens when you let people work from home, Jeff.
This was not something that just that family did. There was a lot of people involved in this. Preston Ward, Tyler Johnson, Rich Boss, Brian Geck, Caleb McEwen, Lucas Hannon, Steve Petrucci, Steve Kirkland, Jack Ferguson, Matt Phelps, Craig Nelson, Harry Ulep, and the Malloy family, who owns the house, are the ones that put together this show.
And we thank them for...
Hats off to them.
For that. That's pretty cool. Now, I have one more addition for the news.
No. That's it.
I do. What do you think is the most dangerous job in Ukraine right now?
Besides being a soldier on the Russian side?
Yeah.
No.
I'm guessing that of all the drone stuff that they're doing, this poor schmuck of a bald guy has the most dangerous job. Watch what he's doing here. Okay, so here comes the big ass drone, and he is loading bombs into this drone while it's hovering 1 foot over his head. Let's hope those bombs snap in pretty good, right? Because if they don't, if they fall from that height, can they go off? And then,
I would imagine so.
And then set off.
They would have proximity. They would have timed fuses on them. It shouldn't go off that close
there's
to
no
the ground.
timed fuses on those. Those are impact. And then off it goes to ruin a Russian's day.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that is dangerous. And you know, these are ordinary citizens a lot of times over there.
Yeah.
Like this guy could have been a CPA a year ago, you know, and now he's loading these bombs in a drone hovering around. That's, you know, hats off to those guys.
That's one of those things where the Ukrainian military comes along and is like, "What do you do for a living?" And I'm a CPA. Well, we don't need CPAs right now, so you're not important. Put the bombs on the drone for
Put the bombs in the drone, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you very much for all of that news. That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, he did say it was a shit ton of news.
It was a shit ton of news. All right.
Hey, I want to let you know.
Now get out.
We should probably mention remotepilot101.com. Isn't it a great place?
Great place.
It is a great place. Tell us about your place, Jason.
So Remote Pilot 101, no one has prepared more Part 107 pilots than us. And you'll be pleased, those of you who are current customers now, you're going to be experiencing version 3 and a brand new learning management system in about 2 weeks. So the best just keeps on getting better. RemotePilot101.com. Use promo code Heron18, which, by the way, Ken, I can't brag on you enough. When we search promo codes, you know me, I'm all about our marketing and everything else. Heron18 is the most used promo code. Your people listen to you, Ken.
Yay! Thank you, people. I appreciate that. And you've been very busy updating the lessons too, because
there's not every video has gotten a facelift. There's 76 videos in there. Every single one has gotten a facelift. The course has gone from 9 hours to almost 12 hours now. There's just so much new content. We're always trying to innovate, push new content. Now with all the recurrent tests changing so much, we're like, wow, we just launched our new course. We need to fix it now. So we're back to that. I was just reviewing some of the stuff our writers sent over earlier for some of the content, and there's some more great stuff coming out here soon as well.
And you take actual questions that test takers give you and kind of incorporate those in the quizzes too, right? So they're actual FAA questions.
We have a ton of data on that, no doubt. So yeah, and I always share, you know this, Ken, I call them the boot camps at the end, where I share, this is a question you're going to see on your knowledge test. Let's not memorize it. Let's understand the why behind it. But just to prepare them for the knowledge test. You know this, though, Ken. I want you to be safe in the real world. My mission isn't just to pass a test. I want you safe when you're out there flying FPV, whatever it is, so you can be a light and be a mentor to everybody else that's out there wondering about what this new drone space is. Even though it's not that new, but to many it is so new. We have to be ambassadors to that.
You're a shining star, Jason. A shining star. Awesome.